Donald Trump almost got lost at the G7 when he wasn't being physically held up by Emmanuel Macron. Why does he look like an anthill? Today we have several more dramatic stories, like a Russian warship firing on a yacht in the English Channel. FBI Director Kash Patel, who somehow still has his job, was allegedly making bi-weekly payments of $8,000 to agents who carry out partisan orders on his behalf. Also, the Secret Service is mad at him right now because, as usual, he can't keep his mouth shut about confidential information. And that is not even close to the most corrupt story we have today. The Trump family crypto firm is getting federal banking privileges. Stephen Miller was begging to suspend habeas corpus and invoke the Insurrection Act just a few months ago. Though on the flip side, Mike Pence is getting some long game revenge today. Though not really enough. I'm Sammy Sage with all your daily news in 10 minutes. Subscribe and turn on notifications to know what is going on every morning. Let's get into it. Kash Patel is at the center of today's drama for multiple reasons. First, our Make-A-Wish FBI director has allegedly authorized a slush fund made up of our tax dollars in order to make payments to his favorite FBI agents and executives. We now know this because Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin sent a letter demanding that the FBI turn over documents related to its payments of around $8,000 a pop that were made to multiple individuals of Patel's choosing, who were, quote, a curated group of agents who are willing to carry out unlawful partisan and personal orders. It is not clear whether these bonus payments have simply been a corrupt attempt to slide cash to friends, or whether they're also meant to ensure the silence of the agents who witness your inebriation and accompanying professional negligence and misconduct. It's unclear how many agents received how much money, but the letter stated that they were able to confirm at least 5 such payments in consecutive pay periods, amounting to almost $40,000 per agent and over $1 million in total. Of our money. Picture of professionalism Patel has other problems, though. Say that 5 times fast. The Secret Service is mad at him because yesterday morning he tweeted out that the FBI had successfully foiled a plot to attack the UFC fight, which was a sealed, ongoing investigation. Will he ever learn to shut his stupid beer-chugging mouth when it comes to national security? Probably not. But since the news is out, here's what happened. The FBI reportedly stopped a planned drone and gun attack on Sunday night's cage fight and arrested 5 people across 4 different states who were charged with conspiracy to commit murder, among other counts. Investigators recovered drones, explosives, firearms, ammunition, and encrypted text messages of over 20 people who were suspected to have taken part or at least communicated about the intended attack. The suspects are all American citizens, and the FBI says no foreign entity was involved, though at least one of the suspects reportedly told the FBI that their goal was to target, quote, capitalist elites and politicians who receive donations from AIPAC. Good to know which flavor of crazy we're dealing with today. Speaking of capitalist elites, though, if you thought Jews controlled the banks, you'll certainly care about this one. The president's family crypto firm, World Liberty Financial, is expected to soon be granted federal banking privileges, meaning it is legally permitted to operate like a bank with a national trust bank charter. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, which issues those charters, is expected to announce a decision soon. And who can guess which way it'll go? In addition to giving a man who bankrupted 4 to 6 casinos control over a bank, it would also create a really smooth route for anyone who wants to pay the president and or his family members. Who would want to do that? It's quite rich, no pun intended, that the Trumps will be controlling a bank, given what a smashing success Donald's lifelong favorite economic policy has been. The tariffs, of course. A new study out of Mike Pence's think tank, the Advancing American Freedom Foundation, found that Trump's tariff policy is a failure. To be specific, his Liberation Day nonsense resulted in 1 million fewer jobs nationwide than would have been expected under pre-tariff trends, which they found with an over 90% confidence level that the manufacturing sector had lost jobs because of the tariffs. And while tariff revenue tripled to $265 billion, which is not even a third of Elon Musk's wealth, that financial burden was not borne by foreign countries. No. 90% of that amount was paid by U.S. importers. That'll show him, Mike. I guess there's a reason they say that the past is never far. We've been getting a drip of reporting about the past years of Trump's second administration, thanks to the impending release of a book from Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan, which I do not intend to give so much publicity, but alas, the contents are important. They reported on secret White House memos that show how closely the administration debated whether they could limit rights to habeas corpus and invoke the Insurrection Act. A memo from April 2025 titled The Writ of Habeas Corpus by the extremely right-wing White House staff secretary lays out why attempting to take away habeas corpus for undocumented immigrants, which Stephen Miller was heavily pushing for, no surprise there, was really a hardline no. That same staff secretary wrote a similarly toned memo about why invoking the Insurrection Act was not going to be it either. And in both cases, Stephen Miller was particularly resistant to his legal opinions. Who does this staff secretary think he is? Mike Pence? Back to the present day, Donald Trump is at the G7 summit in France, where strange things are happening with his face, arm, voice, and general sense of movement. Everyone was perfectly pleasant to each other, for the most part, though Trump announced that the U.S. would be pulling some troops out of Europe after European leaders condemned the war in Iran. On that note, Donald still won't tell us the terms of the Iran agreement, saying, quote,
"I'd like to get a formal setting first before we do that."
A formal setting? The East Wing is rubble, and you're shilling merch out of the room off the Oval Office where you watched the insurrection. I think we're past a formal setting. Speaking of potential geopolitical disasters, a Russian warship fired 5 warning shots into the path of a UK-registered yacht in the English Channel yesterday, which had 2 British retirees on board. Russia's Ministry of Defense called it a, quote, isolated incident, and denied that it was linked to the seizure of a Russian Shadow Fleet tanker in the English Channel 2 days prior, while also saying that the yacht had been on a, quote, dangerous approach towards the Russian warship. Do you hear yourself? A yacht dangerously approaching a warship? Maybe if it were Jeff Bezos' yacht, but no, it wasn't. And finally, this situation is straight out of Veep. As we know, the newly renovated reflecting pool, which was supposed to be reflecting pool blue, is actually algal bloom green. Who could have seen it coming except anyone with a little bit of expertise in this subject? Now the Trump administration has deployed the National Park Service along with many gallons of hydrogen peroxide, which they are pouring into the reflecting pool one at a time in order to combat the algae growth. To be fair, hydrogen peroxide is a legitimate solution to this problem. But you're gonna go gallon by gallon into a pool that is famously bigger than skyscrapers? I am not even gonna ask what this is costing us. But someone will tell me, I'm sure. Until tomorrow, I'm Sammy Sage, and now you know what the is going on. Make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so that you can hear the morning announcements every day.